Happy Mum, Happy Baby is brought to you in association with Fisher-Price. Their innovative toys are designed to be loved by both parents and children at every age and stage, giving us a helping hand throughout our journey so that we can focus on the most important job in the world, parenting. Hello and welcome to another episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Today's guest. Well, for me, she's brought breastfeeding to the foreground. Like, you've spoken about it so much. It's such an empowering way. It is businesswoman Tamara Ecclestone.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Is it weird that you're so linked with breastfeeding now?
It's really weird. I never even thought I was going to breastfeed, so it's really weird for me. When I had Fifi, I stocked my cupboards up with formula.
Really?
I was such an OCD pregnant person. I was okay, buy this sterilizer, buy this bottle. Everything was ready. I had my list, I had the formula, and I thought I was going to mix feed. And then when I had her, I don't even know what happened to me. I turned into this crazy hippie lady that refused to be away from her, bought a sling all of a sudden that I hadn't even bought before, got rid of all the formula. Another person we knew was pregnant and they decided to formula feed. I was like, have the formula, have the bottles, have everything. And breastfeeding, and I don't know, it was just the most amazing decision I've ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it just happen natural? Was it really natural? Was there any problems with it at all, or?
So Fifi had a tongue tie, and she had to have it snipped, which was the most traumatic thing ever. I even refused to be in the room, and then Jay just brought her to me, and I fed her to stop the bleeding, and she had it done once, and they didn't do it enough, so we had to go through that whole thing twice, which was really, really bad.
Yeah.
But then after that, breastfeeding became so much easier, and it was just the easiest thing ever. I would just roll over in the night, feed her, and then roll back over and go back to sleep. It just worked it just worked for me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? I think it's that whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. And I think that's something that you've done really well. It's not like you're putting judgment on anyone who doesn't breastfeed.
No.
You're just saying, this is what I do. And actually, sometimes you just do it by sharing a photo.
Basically, the first photo I ever shared of breastfeeding, we were on holiday in the Bahamas, and it was on the beach, and Jay took a photo of me feeding Fifi, and I posted it because I thought it was a beautiful photo, not anything to do with breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And then I got this A, massive response, and B, massive backlash. And ever since then, every time I've shared a photo of me breastfeeding, I knew that it was going to evoke some sort of reaction. But to be honest, I was I'm not going to not post something that's important to me and such a big part of my life just because there are some people that criticize it.
That first time must have been quite a shock.
That was a real shock. Honestly, I was so shocked that other people, other moms, other women could be so sort of violent with their opinions and could get so bothered about what someone else is doing.
Were they bickering between each other as well?
Oh my goodness. On Instagram, some of the people that were properly getting into these very heated debates, arguments over it was crazy.
And it's just so natural. I think it's because people feel so defensive over whatever they've decided to do.
But the thing is, I've never ever asked anyone why did you decide to formula feed, or when are you going to take the bottle away from them, or why did you give your baby a dummy? Each their own. Everyone needs to get through the day, go, get a good night's sleep and do what works for them. And as a mum, you trust your gut, you follow your instincts, and everyone's doing the best that they can. And I just think it's such a shame that the people that give people the most amount of abuse are other mums and other women, because that's just not what I'm about. I like to build other women up, empower other women to follow their heart, follow their choices. And I don't know, just living in a world where people can be so cruel is kind of, I don't know, it's a bit sad.
So cruel over something so natural.
There are so many bigger things to care about.
If you were if that photo was you in your underwear,
yes,
or if it was a sexualized photo, there'd be nothing.
Nothing, zero.
Yeah.
I don't know why people have this problem about boobs being also for feeding a baby. I mean that's what they're primarily for.
Do you reckon it's because for so long we have seen boobs as something that's sexual, something to be,
I guess,
and all of a sudden now people are seeing those images because of Instagram and social media. Those images are seeking, making their way in, and suddenly it's hold on a minute, you wanted me to think they were sexy, and now all of a sudden.
But that's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that women are pigeonholed. You can be sexy and a mom, and you can post pictures in a bikini and breastfeed. You don't just have to be one thing as a woman. You can be a businesswoman and a mom. You can be so many different things, but people for their own needs feel a need to pigeonhole you and to be what are you? Are you are you a businesswoman? Are you a mother? Are you hot? Do you have nice boobs? Do you breastfeed? You can't be all of the above, and that's just so wild to me. You can be so many more things.
Did you ever have to express or do any of that, or were you literally like,
No,
bottles?
I did have to pump. I had so much milk, and I had like a freezer load full of milk.
Really?
Yeah. So when she started having like porridge and stuff at 6 months old, I would like make it with the breast milk.
Yeah.
And I still had so much left. So I went on like a sharing website for sharing milk, and there was a lady that wanted to go back to work but still wanted to give her baby breast milk, so she came and like collected like this massive like crate of my breast milk and
That's
took
amazing.
it away.
So many people don't actually realise that you can donate your
You can.
milk. So any like premature babies and things like that, it can go to them.
I mean, she had to take my word that I wasn't smoking or drinking, which I
Yeah.
obviously wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really nice to be able to help someone else, because she was really worried about going back to work. And it was her choice that she wanted her baby to have breast milk. So to be able to help another mum was also really special.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah. And how did you find breastfeeding in public? Was there any part
Completely
of you that-
fine.
Really?
Even in Dubai, where most people are like,
yeah.
that's quite random, like that you actually breastfed on the beach there. And I just think like, there's nothing strange about it. I'm not like running up and down the beach like half naked. I'm sitting in a corner, like breastfeeding my baby and just getting on with it.
Did you feel like that from the start? Because I feel like that's something to me that grew, that feeling of I'm just feeding my baby. I had to kind of get myself there.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I got more and more comfortable, but I never felt uncomfortable even from the beginning. Yeah, I feel like it was such a natural thing to me, and I didn't feel any which way about it. And luckily, I never had anyone criticize me.
I haven't, and I don't know how. Not
Like,
in face to face.
No, like when I have breastfed her in public, even when she was older, like a lot older.
Oh, really?
I still never had anyone kind of come up and say something.
I mean, what do you say? Like, I just
Well,
don't. Right,
Why would you, like, if you're looking and you're noticing that that's your problem, you're weird, you're looking way too hard. Like, I don't know. I'm glad no one said anything to me, because I would have really lost my. Yeah.
And then you ended up finding yourself kind of, what's the terminology? It's gone from my head now. Extended breastfeeding?
Extended breastfeeding, I guess. Yeah.
And to other people, that must have been a thing. But for you, it would have been like, well, that's just
how she went to sleep at night. Like some people have like a comforter or a dummy or whatever it was, and she just had my boob. And you know what? It worked for us. She fell asleep really quickly. She was always like very settled and very like happy at bedtime. And it just made the process, it was like, I guess, our way to reconnect at the end of the day. And she had a book and the boob and she fell asleep. And eventually, so at the end of the summer, she was just done with it.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I knew it was coming, because she cut down so much from breastfeeding in the day to sometimes doing it just at night, and then every other night, and then maybe just once a week. And it was like a really, really gradual thing. And then we were on holiday, and then she just didn't mention it ever again. But now she has, and she's like, Mom, I want the boob again. I'm like, no, there's no more milk. You cannot. And she's like, oh, okay.
I'll donate you some. There you go.
Thanks. So yeah, I didn't feel like, I didn't have like a rush of hormones, or I didn't feel like really sad.
But also, I guess, in like technical terms with your boobs, you would have done it so slowly, stopped, that actually, if you do it like that, you don't feel like your boobs don't go
in like
horrible,
there was like no
hard
pain.
or,
No, there was none of that. It was all so like natural and so gradual. So I never felt in pain. And also, like, I think if you stop really suddenly, I've heard that you can get like really down or really feel like sad because of the hormones like involved in it. And I never had any of that. So doing it
people
gradually
suddenly
worked
go
for us.
like cold turkey off.
I don't know how I would do that. I don't know. That must be really, really hard. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Emotionally and physically.
In all ways.
Yeah.
So I went on a work trip once to Hong Kong, and my hairdresser came with me, and she was like, I'm going to stop breastfeeding my baby on this trip. It's the perfect time. And I was like, okay. We were like literally gone for 3 nights. And she was like, if I'm there, he just like wants to be around me. He's like tugging at my top, and I just can't seem to like quit breastfeeding. And she really wanted to. So on the trip to Hong Kong, she stopped. She literally couldn't lift her arm up to do my hair. She was in so much pain. She was so sad. And it was like, you know, but that was her way of doing it. But I just can't personally imagine doing that myself.
Yeah.
It was quite intense.
That is intense, isn't it? And you just kind of feel like you're carrying around these giant rocks.
I know, the pain.
So did you used to express in the middle of the night?
I did. I would feed her, and then I would still feel like I had to express.
So you still had more milk then?
I had more milk. So then basically after feeding her and putting her back to sleep, I would then express and go down to the fridge and put the milk away. I mean, the sleep deprivation is unreal. I remember going to Ascot one day with Jay and bringing the pump with me, and I was sitting in the toilet of Ascot with like this really fancy dress, like asking a random lady to unzip me so I could like get the pump out, and then like had like a portable little freezer thing. I mean, there were days that I would, like in the old days, it was like a clutch bag and a lipstick, and then it was like a pump and the portable freezer, and then rushing back to feed her after that. It was just,
So do you reckon the toilet in Ascot is probably the weirdest place you've ever expressed?
I would say that was definitely a low point. Yes. Yeah, that really was. The pump, man. The noise of the pump is just something that I will never... Yeah. I think Jay is haunted by that too.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I always think, what must it be like for our husbands to have that sound? Because breastfeeding is natural.
Yes, that sound is
But
not.
that electric pump is not. Yeah.
That is not natural. That is just like something
That
else.
turns you into a cow.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. My poor boobs, they've definitely suffered.
Really?
Not as perky as they used to be, not
So
gonna lie.
Plumped back up, but they're
No way.
Well, no, I'm
Yeah, you're
feeding
feeding.
again.
Yeah, you're feeding
They're
again.
Just full of
Yeah,
milk.
yeah. Do you like leak now?
I've still got pads in. I've only leaked twice in public. No, 3 times. Twice in front of my father-in-law, once in front of my dad. So I think sometimes it's just safer to wear pads. I'm looking forward to
Definitely.
not having to wear like a bra at night.
Oh yes, yes, that's such a liberating experience. But I still wear like my nursing bras. I just need to buy
do
some
you?
new sexy bras. It's really bad. I've still got the ones with clips on. Poor Jay. Like I haven't got rid of them yet. So yeah.
So the romance isn't quite back.
No,
Maybe work on that before baby number 2.
I know. I need to get some new underwear before we work on baby number 2. Seriously.
Do you look at people and go, oh, I'm quite happy with Fifi. I don't know if I could go again.
You know what? I think I will have one more.
Do you?
Yeah. And I've never really felt ready or felt like it was even an option for me. But she started to ask for a sister. Aww. She really does not want a brother. It's terrifying. Like, I can't control that. And then me and my sister are the best of friends. Yeah. And I honestly don't know what I would have done without her. So on one hand, I'm really, really happy, just the 3 of us. And then the other hand, I think it'll be nice for Fifi to have a sibling, because you can have loads of friends, but there's nothing really like family. So
well, yeah, I think you learn a lot, don't you? If I think about my brothers and sisters, the amount of emotion that we've thrown each other's way, and there's no grudges, it's just growing
it's like
up.
unconditional.
It is, and you kind of learn so much from each other.
And you learn to have to share and just slot into things and just get on with it. I think it is, I mean, it's a huge step. We will see, maybe next year.
Is there part of you actually that, because Fifi has been so dependent on you, and you have been able to now go out in the evenings and stuff, does part of you want to enjoy that?
Yes. Part of me is terrified of going back to square one. Like, life is so good now. She's an amazing sleeper. We get so much time to ourselves in the evenings. She sleeps in the morning. Why would I want to go back to like absolutely zero sleep and, you know, the pumping?
I know.
I don't know.
That's
like
a small part of it.
Like the bad baby poos that leak.
I literally have a leaky poo every day at the moment. I don't
It's
know quite what's
awful
going
when
on.
they like shoot up their back, and it's just like so brutal. The nighttime nappy changes. When I think about all of that, I'm like, why would I want to do that again? But it is the most amazing gift.
wonder though if second time round everything just, for me, I felt like all that bit feels smaller, like shorter.
I really hope so. I really hope so. And I think that with your second one, you probably worry a lot less than you do with your first one. Everyone says they do. My sister definitely said she did, and my mom. So I'm hoping I won't be as anxious.
Is it just you and your sister?
It's just us two. Yeah. So she has 3 kids, and who knows, maybe one day she'll have some more. I'm kind of hoping to maybe get pregnant at the same time as someone else or her, just to make it easier, a little bit easier.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Just to like have someone to go through all that stuff with, because I mean, my husband just doesn't get it at all. Bless him, but it's not his thing. I had the worst morning sickness, and all I could eat was salt and vinegar crisps.
I loved salt and vinegar crisps when I was pregnant.
I didn't have any cravings, but that was the only thing I could eat that didn't make me feel sick for 3 months. I literally just survived on salt and vinegar crisps.
I wonder if it's because I just really like salt and vinegar crisps.
I love them anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, I'm pregnant and this seems to work, so let me keep eating them.
Yeah, but I didn't have any weird pregnancy like cravings.
Didn't you?
No, not really. You hear about people that like crave mud and soil.
Coal. Ice. I really wished I craved ice.
Yes. Yeah.
But I can't stand the
No.
Of all the things to crave, I really wish I did that.
I didn't have any weird cravings, but second time round, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm talking about it like it's actually happening. I'm like psyching myself up for this. Who knows? It might not happen, but if it does, yeah.
What was it like the first time you met Fifi?
Oh my God, it was like the most I don't know, she was just so cute and so little, and she went straight for the boob.
Really?
She started guzzling. Oh my gosh, like she could not wait.
So she literally did the textbook, like sniff it out, find it.
She was like a little sniffer dog, found it, and there we go. She was like so happy. Yeah.
That might be one of the, like, part of the reason why for you it was just like, well, that's what she wants. Like,
I think so, because it was never like she was crying when I was trying to put her on the boob. She was like literally constantly searching for it. And when she was in the hospital, I had like her little like hospital cot thing next to the bed, and she wouldn't go in it. And I had to like have her on my chest, and I was so scared to fall asleep in case she would like fall off my chest. So I was in hospital for 3 nights and I didn't sleep at all because I had her on my chest. So yeah, I don't know. She was always very affectionate as a baby.
yeah.
And like needed cuddles and loved cuddles, and which is basically kind of like a mini version of me. So that was really cute.
Is she still like that now?
She's so affectionate and so cuddly. She's like a little, she gives the best hugs. She like wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, I love you, mummy, and then goes back to sleep. She's like, can I have water? I love you. And then goes back to sleep. So cute.
That's lovely.
It's really, really sweet.
And did you find out you were having a girl?
As soon as I could.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I could never, ever be like you. No. Like, I'm like, it's enough of a surprise as it is. I need to like buy pink stuff and get like her name like sewn into things. And we found out as soon as we could. I think
Was it a surprise falling pregnant, or did you know that you were going to...
So I started taking the pill, and I just thought it might take a while. I've been on the
Yeah.
pill for ages. Who knows what's going to happen? And I just got pregnant right away, like
Really?
as soon as I stopped taking it. So I didn't think it would happen that quickly.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so finding out, did you feel like that helped you prepare a little bit more?
I think so. I was so convinced I was having a boy.
Oh, really?
And my sister thought I was having a boy. And so then we found out I was having a girl, and I was so excited. Yeah. I don't know why, but like in my head, when the lady said, oh, and it's a girl, I was like, really? Are you sure? And it's like, yeah, very sure.
I wonder how different your life would be if you had a boy.
I can't imagine having a boy. I really can't. But I love psychics, and I've seen about 7,600 psychics, and they've all told me that in the next 2 years, I'm going to have a boy.
Really?
Yeah. They've all said the same thing, so they can't all be wrong. Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
Jay would love a boy to like take to Tottenham.
Really?
Yeah, love.
I wonder how the dynamics of the house will change.
I just can't. Like, I have a sister.
Yeah.
I don't really have any male friends. I now have a daughter. I really cannot imagine like having a boy, but I mean, I guess you just adapt to everything and
I have 3 boys, and they are so lovely.
affectionate,
And
right?
affectionate, really
yeah.
affectionate.
Yeah.
Totally all over mummy.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just mayhem, though.
I know, they just can't sit for very long. They're constantly on the go. It's like a whole different thing, because Fifi can sit and colour beautifully for like hours, and that's just not going to happen if I have a boy. But it would be nice to experience both, I feel.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
It is. It is.
Adding to the brood.
I know. I can't even believe I'm like talking about it so openly, because literally if I had met you last year, I'd be like, no, we're done. Me, Jay and Fifi, we're a
Really?
triangle. We're not having any more. We're so happy. Life can't get better
What
than
is
this.
it then that you think has shifted in your brain?
I think it's because Fifi is now open to it, because before she was like, no, I want to be your only baby. I don't want more babies.
Aw.
And now she's like, oh yeah, I would really like a sister. It'd be so cute. So I think that now that she's open to it, I'm like, well, I want to make her happy. And if she wants another one, it'd be kind of mean not to, or at least to try and have one more.
Yeah. Is that something that you worry about, not being able to?
To be honest, I haven't thought about it because I fell so pregnant so easily with Fifi, but you just never know, I guess, second time around. And I've heard loads of stories about people that got pregnant really easily with their first, and then it was completely different second time around.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like lots of my friends are talking about freezing their eggs at the moment. That seems quite drastic though. Yeah. Because I feel like you can't wait too long, otherwise it's a pointless procedure.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not ready to do that.
No.
See how we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe tonight. Maybe now.
Jay's away for a week.
Oh, is he? I mean, probably give him a heads up.
Yeah, Netflix for the next week for me, and I get to pick what I'm watching. Excellent.
Netflix and actual chill.
Yeah, it's the way forward.
There's still that closeness, and like you two are so close.
We are really close. I sometimes feel a little bit bad for my husband because
Really?
we kind of gang up on him. We're like the real tag team, and then there's Jay, and we bully him and we terrorize him, and Fifi wakes him up by jumping on his head. Poor guy.
Fifi's in your bed as well, isn't
Still, yeah, we don't have a bed for her yet. She doesn't want one. I keep offering her one. I'm like, should we get a bed? I can get you a princess bed. I can get you any bed that you would like.
Yeah.
So I don't want her to be in my bed and think this is the only option in life.
Yeah.
I want her to know, like, if she wants to go in her room and she wants a bed, she can have that. But she said that when she's 6, she will, which is a year and a half away. We will see.
I just think it's like with breastfeeding. The more you worry, and obviously you didn't worry about certain things, like when you actually get there, it's not a thing anyway.
I honestly feel like she finished breastfeeding on her own timetable.
Yeah.
I potty trained her and I didn't make a huge thing out of it. I just feel like you can't create this big storm in a teacup when she wants her own bed and she's...
And also, who are you doing it for? If you were getting her out of your bed, if you and Jay are happy,
we're happy.
Then who are you doing it for?
We're all happy. We will have the best night's sleep. Like, it doesn't interfere in our lives at all. And yeah, we don't feel like we want to get her out of our bed because we know realistically it's not going to go on for much longer. And we'll probably miss her, even though she'll just be next door.
Yeah, I wonder how you'll feel when she first sleeps.
That I'll be sad about. I definitely think. I don't know.
Is she a good sleeper? Does she just sleep in the middle and is happy and
She
calm?
is now. She did not start sleeping through the night till she was 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she never was a great sleeper, but now she's an amazing sleeper. She just goes to bed and falls asleep in the middle, and I like put all pillows around so she can't roll out or go anywhere. And then and it's like really hard waking her up in the morning. So it's like a teenager already. Like the school rush in the morning is brutal. Like, we've got to go. And she's like, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes.
I wish my boys were like that.
Oh my gosh, I can't wake her.
This morning, I think we were all up by 5:15.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and you've got to think at that time in the morning, do we have a struggle and try and get everyone to go back into their beds, even though they're not going to go back to sleep? Or do we just embrace that it's the start of the day?
But do you just get them all in your bed then? Or do
Sometimes,
you actually get up?
well, Max, the baby, did actually eventually go back to bed,
back
to sleep. So the boys ended up going downstairs. But once you're downstairs, that's it.
That's the thing when you have more than one. There's always someone that's awake.
Yes. Don't let that put you off, Tamara.
I've seen my sister. She has 3 kids. It's put me off. It's really brutal.
What was your childhood like?
It was just really, really happy. Me and my sister used to fight a lot. I will never forget the time that I bleached her hair with sun in and it went like orange. And then we had to cut it off because her hair was like orange. Oh, no. And everyone thought it was a boy and called her Peter for like a year instead of Petra. She still really holds a grudge about that one. But when we were like about 16, when I was about 16 or 17, we became really, really good friends. And we just got like closer and closer since. And having kids and going through that at similar times. Yeah. We've just been there for like every big milestone in each other's life. And because we're so different, I think we've never competed with each other in any way, which is amazing because we don't look the same. Our personalities are completely different, but we kind of, we just bring out the best in each other. Yeah.
Are your children close?
Really, really close. Fifi misses her cousin so much now that they live in LA, and she asks for Lavinia, like her cousin, all the time. So I can't wait to get there this Christmas.
Oh. And what was your relationship like with your mum and dad growing up?
My mum was definitely the strict one that always told us off. We weren't allowed sugar. We weren't allowed... Like, I didn't have a McDonald's till I was like 11. I really feel like I was missing out. My mom...
You weren't.
My mom was really, really like... And my dad was just a complete pushover. It's really sweet. Yeah, my dad was just like... We had him wrapped around our little finger. And I would say that the roles have now reversed in our home. Like, Jay would be the stricter one, and I'm the one that's like the biggest enabler ever.
Are you the sort of mum that you thought you were going to be?
No, like it started from the beginning with the breastfeeding thing. But funnily enough, my mom and my sister and Jay were all like, okay, we don't believe you. You're going to change so much when you have Fifi. And I was like, what do you know? And my sister was breastfeeding Lavinia at the time. And I think Lavinia was maybe like 8 months old. I was like, why are you still breastfeeding her? Just be done with it already. And then I turned into like that's why I think you just can't judge until it happens to you. So all like the preconceived ideas I had, like I built a nursery at the top of the house. I hired a maternity nurse. I bought a bunch of formula. I just thought my life was just going to go on as normal. Yeah. Jay and I were like going to just do us and go out on these dates and like go away for the weekend. And I was like, it's not going to change our relationship at all. It's going to be the same. And then completely unexpectedly, like my life was turned like upside down in the best way possible. Yeah. Like I don't regret like getting rid of the maternity. Like I don't regret any of it. Like I wouldn't have done it any differently.
Did you literally just kind of go, actually, I was
like, get off my baby. You can't help me. I'm breastfeeding her. I don't even know why you're standing here watching me breastfeed her. Just go away.
Those early hormones.
Yeah, seriously. Like when she was born in the hospital, they were like, oh, can we take her up to the nursery so you can rest for the night? And I was like, absolutely not. Do not touch my baby. Don't come near her. Like, I don't know, something just kicked in and I really wasn't expecting it. Like I was the kind that loved my sleep and just thought that would be priority number 1. And then just everything shifted.
And it's amazing now how little sleep you need.
you can just function on 0 sleep. It's amazing.
Is it crazy for you looking at your life before Fifi? And like, because for me, I knew you as someone who was out a lot and,
Yes.
you know, in certain places and you've changed so much.
Yeah, I feel like everything before Fifi was kind of irrelevant and just passing the time. And the funny thing is, I was never one of those girls growing up that was desperate to have a baby or get married. It wasn't something that I really prioritized. And then when I had Fifi, I was just like, people were inviting me places and I was like, no, we can't do this. Don't want to go there. Like everything in my life was just about being there for Fifi and experiencing things with her and sleeping where and when I could. So all of a sudden, you know, like shopping and dinners and I don't know, like my friends for a while, that was just like really not like something that was important at all in my life. And it was just all about family and wanting to share those times with my sister and her kids and Jay and my mom and just, yeah, family just became the most important thing.
I think his family accept you for exactly who you are.
Yeah, no one in my family questioned the breastfeed. All my choices, my family were completely on board with and no one questioned any of it. And I wasn't judged and it was just really, really nice to feel like I was just supported by them.
Have you been surprised how much judgment there is in motherhood?
So surprised because obviously before having kids, I never got involved in any of that and it wasn't even on my radar. And then since having Fifi, it's everything from co-sleeping to breastfeeding to what kids are wet. Like just there are so many opinions and parenthood is such a divisive thing. And it's just such a shame because that's what makes like life so interesting, that people have different choices and different ways of doing things. Like even me and my sister like chose a few different things and she's the closest person to me. And I would never have dreamt of saying to her, like, you should take the dummy away from whatever it is. Like it's all fine. Like that, no one's going to be going off to university with a dummy and a nappy. No. So just deal with it.
And hopefully Fifi's not going to be coming home with a boyfriend and going, come into mummy and daddy's bed. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be strange. Yeah.
No, but with things like that, I think, you know, kids are really observant and they know that you two go to bed together. So why would she not be included in that?
Exactly. And I don't know, there are just so many mums that are so competitive, like, how many words is your baby saying? Or are they reading? Or are they walking? Or are they sleeping through the night? And I just feel like people lie. And I'm just like, I'm not getting caught up in that. It's ridiculous.
They do lie. And they kind of, I don't know, but you don't know what's going on in people's lives, do you? Kind of, if those words make you feel better, great.
But they're all going to talk and they're all going to walk. Like, it all like levels out. And I just don't understand why people I don't know if it's like to make other mums feel bad that if their kids aren't doing that, or I don't really understand like the reasoning behind it, but it is really bizarre to me still.
Yeah. I think it's maybe a pride thing. People just want, you know, every child is special, but I think maybe it's for mums, they're just like, mine's even more special than yours.
Extra special child. Yeah, it's so silly.
Yeah.
And I notice it now at school that mums are like, what color reading book does Fifi have? Or and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what color it is. I don't care. Like, I'm just not like a tiger mum in that way. Like, I'm just not pushy. All I want for Fifi is to be kind and happy and feel loved and be well-rounded. And it's not about reading the most or being the best at this. I just don't think that's healthy.
Having had your upbringing where you have, you know, a lot of things, you're very, you know, wealthy. Do you do you think about how to implement kindness and generosity? Because you are so generous, that you give a lot. Yeah,
I think it's so important. I think that it really is. The biggest lesson that my parents taught me was to be kind and to give back and to realize that I was fortunate and to never take anything for granted. And Fifi's now old enough. So last night we were putting together like toys to take to the school and they were going to give them to charity and stuff. And she's so sweet. She said to me, she's like, I think I'll miss this toy, mummy, but it's important I give it to someone that has less than me. And she's
giving her own toys.
She's giving her own toys. And we were like walking around the house and she was like, this one's really special, but I think someone else will like it. And it's just so nice. And she's such like a kind, giving little girl. And I do think that they just kind of see what's going on at home and they see that like, this is our norm and we always do this. And so like tonight we're putting together a shoebox for like refugees and like we're going to get treats and like food and stuff and put it in there. And I just think it's so important that it starts from an early age. Yeah. And and you know, also things like working for rewards and like, if you're good, you can get this and, you know, like positive reinforcement and stuff. And it's not a case of, okay, you can have whatever you want. Yeah. Because obviously she is in a fortunate position, but I don't want her to become like some monster child.
No, exactly. And that's the thing, isn't it? Because you know that you can, but sometimes because you know can
the
doesn't
right
mean
thing.
You should.
Exactly. Sometimes the right thing to say is, no, Christmas is coming in a few months. Let's wait till then, or let's ask Santa, and just to like tell her that she's lucky and not everyone has the things that she has. So I definitely feel like you learn all those things at home, and it's important messages to learn from a young age.
And I think they take it in as well.
They definitely do. They might not
understand it fully,
but they're definitely taking it all in.
Yeah. How has because you and Jay, how long were you together?
Oh my goodness. We got engaged after 2 weeks.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes. I mean, that is so crazy. And if Fifi
Had
ever
you
does
known
that...
each other before at all?
No.
Right.
No, not at all. We met through a mutual friend.
Right.
We set up on a blind date, and I had no interest at all in going on this blind date. I even had like a plan B for later on that night. But it was the most fun, most amazing day ever. And we just got on so well. And then like a week afterwards, we went on holiday to Dubai, and then we got engaged. And then we got married in June. We met in January, got married in June, and I got pregnant in July. So it was such a whirlwind. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons that having Fifi hasn't affected our our relationship, because we didn't have that long pre-Fifi. So it wasn't like we had 10 years of holidays alone and then suddenly it was such a big shock. Like it all happened relatively quickly.
So
really quickly.
Yeah, you must still you learn about someone so quickly in that way.
So quickly, but I think having a child makes you learn so much about that person, way more than just being married or dating or living together.
Yeah.
Like having a baby is like the ultimate in, learning to compromise, and sometimes one person has one view and the other person totally doesn't agree, and finding a way to work around that. So, yeah.
And you have two different styles of parenting.
In some ways, we're very much on the same page. Like he was very pro me breastfeeding and very supportive, and the bed sharing. And then in other ways, he's like, no YouTube, no hot dogs. And I'm like, it's okay, it's one hot dog, it's not gonna hurt her. So yeah, in some ways we're very similar, in other ways we're not that similar, but we always find a way to compromise. And I think that's what it's all about, like respecting each other's opinions.
Have you gone back to having date nights now?
We have date nights now. We were meant to go on one last night and he cancelled because he wasn't feeling well. So it's not me cancelling.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, no, we do. We go to the cinema or go for dinner or whatever. It's really important to make time. I mean, I don't know how you do it with 3 kids.
Well, I always say, it's the same with me time. I kind of feel like, well, I've had this family and I work, and actually sometimes my me time and our couple time is our family time.
Yes.
Because that's what we've wanted. So how can I go, I love you, but now I'm going to have time away with you? Yeah,
it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, but it's interesting how relationships change and how you can look back at yourself 6-7 years ago and go, why did I care about all those things that I cared about?
I know. Like I would literally care about the most irrelevant things and get myself so worked up and so stressed. And now I'm like, that was so crazy.
Have your views about your body changed?
Totally. It's, like my body is amazing. I carried a baby in my stomach, breastfed her, kept her alive for 6 months just through breast milk. It's pretty amazing. And, she's a 4.5-year-old and I want to be able to eat chocolate in front of her and set those positive examples. I don't want her to be like, Mummy, why can't you eat this ever? Or why do you never have any ice cream or whatever? So I teach her, I want her to see that exercise is important and we do eat healthily, but it's okay to have treats and snacks, and your self-worth has nothing to do with how much you weigh or what you look like. And I think as a girl that is I'm very cautious. I don't want to tell her all the time, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. I want her to know that she's smart and courageous and clever and kind, because I think actually growing up as a girl, that's a lot more important than just caring.
You had a lot of paps following you all the time, people commenting all the time.
On what you look like.
Yeah. So having a girl, is that something that you worry about?
I just want her to know, I'm trying to raise her in a way that really doesn't matter. And it's about what's on the inside. And of course, teenagers go through insecurities, and I had bad skin and I wore braces, and there were things that I was really insecure about. But I would hope that, I don't know, just through the way that I'm choosing to talk to her about those things and the examples that she's seeing, that's kind of not such a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. And just when you see Instagram and perfect pictures, I think kids now, I never had that when I was growing up. And the extra added pressure when you're already feeling bad about yourself as a teenager, it must be really, really hard.
Yeah, I guess it's learning from a young age that you curate your own feed. So you have to decide what makes you feel good and what doesn't.
Yeah.
But growing up, my mum was always, doing keep fit stuff and, Mr. Motivator, or like eating her little seeds out of a tub.
Yes.
And so I think for us growing up, it was always a thing of, is there a right and a wrong way to look?
Yeah.
Or actually, it's more about how you feel.
It's definitely that.
So hopefully having that there now will help people.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it is really tricky and a fine line to sort of tread, but we are really cautious. Like Jay and I, we never talk about calories or diets or like say FAT. Like sometimes there's that word in books and I'm like, why in kids' books do you put that word? That's such an ugly word. It shouldn't be in kids' books.
It's funny, isn't it? But I had a moment where Buzz said fat. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like a really punchy word and I just don't understand. Isn't it? Yeah. So whenever there's that word, I try and like change it in a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you change it to?
I don't know. I just miss it out. I'm like, I don't know what makes it better.
Fine, let's leave it.
Yeah. But yeah, there shouldn't be that word in kids' books. It shouldn't be like even in their vocabulary at this age.
Yeah, especially done in a way that's derogatory.
Derogatory or like poking fun.
Yeah.
Kind of how they do at Peppa Pig's dad.
I feel sad for him.
So do I. That poor guy in his belly get a lot of crap.
Just generally, I think he's a bit abused.
He is. He's like a worn down man. Pig. He's a worn down pig.
I was watching your show, Tamara's World.
Yes.
And I actually found myself crying.
No.
At the episode where you are taking Fifi to school.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Oh, and that thing of, because I've had it with two of the boys, because obviously Max isn't going yet, but where she's just like, I don't want to go. And she starts crying and you get sad.
It's awful.
But it's such a... This is why I love this podcast and why I love talking about parenthood, because I think it's such a leveler. And every parent will experience their child going to school. And if they don't want to, if they're hanging on to you, emotionally, it's
the worst.
Yeah.
It's the most heartbreaking, soul-destroying thing that you can go through. You just feel so mean and I don't know, like I don't like to make her do things that she's not ready to do or isn't excited or want to do. And I know that's not life. And in life, you have to do things you don't want to, but not when you're like 2.5 and going to nursery. It's just so hard. And I just worried about the weirdest things, like who's going to wipe her bottom? Like she doesn't know how to do that. And like, what if she doesn't eat? Or what if this kid's mean to her and I'm not going to be there? And it's just like really hard when you've been there every time she's fallen over to pick her up. And then all of a sudden you're not going to be there. It's just, I found it really, really hard. Like, more so with nursery than with school.
Oh, really?
Because nursery was the first time I'd ever dropped her, like, and not been with her. So obviously school, she had been to nursery for 2 years. So it was more like gradual and she was expecting it. But yeah, dropping her at nursery was kind of like the cold turkey breastfeeding. Like, okay, here you go. Like, take my child. Bye. Yeah. And it was really, really hard for me. I felt like I just felt helpless and guilty and sad, really. It was just sad.
It's that end of that just being you and her.
It really was. And I only found it hard for as long as she didn't want to be there.
Right.
And when she started talking to me about friends and people she liked and things that she was doing, then I felt so much better.
But didn't you find the first day that she didn't cry about going in and she just wandered in also a little bit heartbreaking?
Yeah, a little bit hurtful. Yeah.
You're not going to cry from anymore? What is this?
A little bit hurtful, I would say so, definitely. Yeah. But less hard. The more sort of like heartbreaking stuff is when she was like hanging on my leg and I felt like I was like literally like the teacher was like pulling her off of me and I just had to walk out, and it's just like leaving when they're not settled and when they're like distressed is really, really hard.
Well, nursery staff always, it doesn't matter where you go, they always say, they stop as soon as you
leave.
It's fine.
Yeah. Yes, I didn't believe that. Yeah. So I used to like linger behind and like wait 10 minutes. And she always did calm down. I'm like, why are you hustling me in the morning? You like ruined my whole day. I like can't enjoy anything knowing that you are not happy. So now I was like, please, can you like go to school with a smile and then mummy will have a good day. And now we do this like reward system, which she now does that. But when I leave her and she's smiling, I just feel like my day starts a lot better.
Yeah. And it's nice now, I imagine, now that she's at school and she can tell you about her day.
She tells me about her day and she asks to do certain things and see her friends and go on play dates. And now she's really into it. So it feels like she's part of this community, which I really like for her.
Yeah. That's nice. It feels like they're actually
enjoying.
Yeah.
And she like loves her tennis lessons. There are things that she enjoys. So I don't feel bad. I feel like this is great for her and she's enjoying it. So I actually now am not depressed when I drop her at school.
And are you enjoying that time?
It's amazing how much you can accomplish in a day.
Well, you've
childless.
set up businesses as well now. You've got Fifi and
I've
Friends.
got Fifi and Friends, and I'm like expanding Show Beauty,
Yeah.
and I've got time to like focus on charity things. So yeah, it is nice to also be able to just be Tamara sometimes and be able to really have an adult conversation and think about things and apply myself to other things.
Yeah.
But I always do look forward to picking her up though. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you make sure you're there at drop off and pick up?
I've never missed one yet. Yeah.
Have you not?
No.
I'm a terrible mother in that
But
way.
who takes them? Well, you must have
Tom,
other people. Yeah.
Or Tom or his parents.
Yeah, see, you're lucky. Like,
Yeah.
my mum doesn't live here. My dad works. My
Yeah.
sister doesn't live here. And Jay's always at work. So there is
Yeah.
really no one else.
And I guess
Yeah.
you kind of just want to know that she's safe and that she's...
I'm the first mum there. Like, I'm so eager.
Really?
Like, waiting for the gates to open so I can get her.
Do you reckon you're going to be part of like the PTA or anything?
I am already.
You are? Of course you
Yes.
are.
Jay's like, oh my gosh, yes. The Monica Geller of this family is like involved in every committee. Like, yes, I'm very involved in school life.
Oh, I just think it's amazing. And honestly, the amount of people that I've spoken to and said, oh, I'm recording with you today.
Yeah.
The amount of people that say she's such a good mum.
Oh, that's like the nicest thing to hear because that's what matters like most to me.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest compliment ever. And I think as mums, we're all doing our best. So to sometimes hear that you're doing a good job.
But I think especially with you, because people had a public perception that was completely wrong.
Yeah.
And motherhood has actually shown a very different side of you.
Yeah. It's just brought out, I think, who I was truly meant to be.
Yeah.
And I've done a 180,
Yeah.
which is good.
So at the end of every podcast,
Yeah.
I start 3 sentences and you're going to finish it.
Okay, sure. Okay.
So being a mum means...
being selfless and just it's the best journey ever.
Since being a mum, I...
Have realized what true unconditional love is.
And I'm happy when...
Fifi falls asleep in a good mood and I get to watch Netflix.
That's joy right there.
Yeah, perfection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
This podcast was brought to you by Fisher-Price. Fisher-Price recognises that every child is unique, and in developing toys that are filled with imagination and excitement, help little ones to grow as they're introduced to the world around them.